Hey guys, in this video I am checking out a lens sent to me by Viltrox. This is the second Viltrox lens that I've ever featured on this channel. This one is the 20mm F1.8 and it is a full frame Sony E Mount lens. Now, let me say this before we get into what comes in the box and my samples. Inevitably, when I review a full frame Sony E Mount lens on a crop sensor body, which is the whole point of this channel, there are a number of you that get really upset and think that I should only be reviewing full frame lenses on full frame camera bodies. And there might be a little bit of truth in that. We can get really technical about lines of resolution, light dissipation, flange distances. I really don't want to go there. I am by no means a professional photographer. I really just do this as a hobby. I take photos of my family, I take videos of my family, and then I make these YouTube videos just for fun. So for me, it's interesting to see how these full frame lenses perform on my APS-C bodied cameras because I have 4 of them and that's what I do. But if you're looking for a review of this lens on a full frame camera, unfortunately, you just have to look elsewhere. And the last thing that I'll say about using full frame lenses on crop sensor cameras or crop lenses on full frame cameras is that Sony actually reached out to me recently, which I've been doing this channel for years and years and years. They've never ever reached out to me, but who knows what's going to come from it. Hopefully we'll be working together in the future. But I was poking around on their website and just curious for my own sake. There was no hard and fast rule that said you cannot use a full frame Sony E Mount lens on a crop sensor body. In fact, most of these Zeiss lenses that Sony sells are full frame lenses, and believe it or not, they really do want you to buy more and more of their Zeiss products and their expensive lenses. So it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for Sony to say, you know, if you have an A6300, sorry, you can't use a Zeiss on this camera. It's not like that. It's the same mount. These lenses work great no matter if you're shooting with an APS-C or a full frame. Yes, there's going to be slight variation, and if you are a professional and you want 100% optical quality, use the lens that is designed for your camera body. But if you're just a hobbyist or if you're making YouTube channel videos, it really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. So don't be scared of using whatever lens that you want on your Sony camera body. That's just my opinion. Anyway, let's get into the unboxing. I've already taken up too much of your time, so here we go. This is the box that the lens comes in, a quite large box for a lens, 20mm F1.8 ASPH full frame manual focus prime lens. So not a whole lot on the other sides, kind of the same thing on 2 sides. Let's open this. A carrying pouch, it's like a warranty card, a manual, an inspection little piece of paper, certificate, some foam. Foam inserts here, Viltrox branded, all metal, lens hood, very short, has some ridges on the inside. The lens itself, and it is a hefty lens. It's definitely got some weight, all metal. You get a Viltrox branded lens cover. So there is already another lens hood on this lens, which I guess is removable. So you can do that one or this one. Haven't seen that before. I haven't seen a lens come with 2 different lens hoods. So you got a rose petal one and then just kind of a standard one. Convex globe. Very nice coatings because you can see all the different colors, yellow, purples, greens. So around the front, 82mm filter thread. PFU RBMH 1.8 and 20mm, and then ASPH EDRF. And then around the back, just a plastic lens cap for Sony E. No electronic connections, just a normal full frame Sony E Mount. What I can tell you guys is that this is a very heavy, very strong, rugged feeling lens in the hand. Let's look at the sides. You get a badge here, DF-RBW. At the very front, we have an aperture control. So f1.8 on the end, declicked to f16. Very stiff, but this is a nice little knurling or grip on the edge. Very unique looking lens, that's for sure. There it is, wide open. And then directly beneath that, we have this nice focus ring with markings. And man, this is stiff, but smooth. And you have markings you can clearly read in meters and in feet, and then depending on your aperture you can use whatever marking you need. So very nice as far as rotation. You get almost a full 180, a little bit less than 180. And I am very excited to put this on my camera and to start using it. So let's do that next. I weighed this camera body in at 400 grams. This lens is 766 grams, so almost twice the weight of just the camera body itself. So it does make your whole setup very front heavy. That was with this lens hood, which does add a little bit of weight as well. But without the lens hood, that is what it looks like. Nice front lens element. It really is a well-designed, well-finished lens. It matches the camera body quite well and certainly doesn't look out of place at all. Definitely a very well-built lens. Let's see how it performs though. So here are some sample photos and videos. These were all done on my Sony A6400 handheld. Here we go. So that is it for the sample photos and videos, and I have to say that this lens truly does impress. This is definitely in my top 5 as far as best, easiest to focus manual lenses out there. The focus ring is just buttery smooth. I do wish that the aperture had distinct clicks, but that's just a personal preference. It's not something that's worth complaining about on this lens. Overall, the performance was very good. This lens is very sharp, even wide open at f1.8, surprisingly very good. The majority of those sample shots that I just showed you were actually shot wide open at f1.8, and sharpness in the center and in the edges is very good. This lens has a nice and flat focal plane so that your corners are equally as sharp as the center. Obviously, it gets better as you stop it down, but even wide open, it's certainly not bad at all. Flaring was very well controlled with this. I did use this rose petal lens hood with it, so that probably helped me out quite a bit. Chromatic aberration was also very well controlled in all of my shots. There was a little bit of green fringing and slight purple here and there, but by no means is this as bad as some recent lenses that I've reviewed, and it's definitely not even close to the bottom 50% of lenses that I've reviewed on this channel. So very good from that standpoint. Again, the build quality, the one thing that I keep emphasizing is just how well built this lens is. It feels really expensive, it feels really nice in the hand, and everyone that I passed this camera and lens off to was equally impressed with how well this lens was built and how great it felt in the hand. I'm gonna say this here, and it is a big statement. This is in my top 3 best built lenses that I've ever tested on this channel. It's really, really good. The focal length at 20mm is definitely very usable. It's kind of a good walk around lens, but you can take wide landscapes with it as well. There is very little negative that I can say about this lens. It's one of those things that is very surprising. I didn't expect it from Viltrox, but it's super duper good. It was so good that I decided to compare it side by side to one of my favorites, which is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. We all know and love this lens because it is very sharp, very good colors, autofocus. It has a whole lot of features. If you guys have never looked into this lens, definitely encourage you to check it out. But I took a landscape shot using this Sigma, and I took the exact same shot with this 20mm. Obviously it's going to be zoomed in a little bit more, but you can see first off, biggest difference between these two images is the colors. The Sigma colors are a lot brighter and warmer, whereas the Viltrox colors are a lot colder. They're definitely not as vibrant. Now, zooming in, you can see that the Viltrox is very sharp in the center. As you move into the corners, it also is still very sharp. I have to say that the Sigma is slightly, ever so slightly sharper in the corners, but the Viltrox is very close, and I have to say it's probably one of the closest lenses as far as edge sharpness that I've tested and compared to a very sharp Sigma like the 16mm. My really only gripe with this is the price point, and you guys probably saw that coming because a very well-built lens like this should not be $100. I wish it was, because then it would be an easy recommendation. At $200, it would be an easy recommendation. Even at $300, easy recommendation. But this lens costs $485, which is a lot. It's a lot for an average hobbyist who just has an APS-C camera. The Sigma 16 that I just compared to this lens is, I don't know, $379 now, depending on where you look. So it's $100 cheaper than this, and this has autofocus. It's also faster, it's wider, better colors. This is a great lens. So this Viltrox is expensive, and that is, I think, its only flaw. Unless you have no budget whatsoever, or you have a bunch of money just laying around and you have a full frame camera and you're used to paying full frame lens prices for your lenses, maybe it makes sense. But if you have just an A6000 and you're trying to keep your setup on a budget, this is probably gonna be. I would nudge you in the direction of the Sigma 16mm. This is a hard lens to beat. So that is going to be it for my review of this lens. As always, check out the links down below if you guys are interested in buying. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all of your likes, comments, and support. Thank you guys for allowing me to hit 100,000 subscribers. I'll have a video about that released shortly, hopefully. Stay tuned for more, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.